I've got a terrifying hospital story for you guys tonight. This one is a viewer submission. It comes from Beth C. Now, this happened in Lebanon, Tennessee, about a half hour outside of Nashville. And the place is still open to this very day, still, handling patients. And Beth C. was a nurse technician back at the time. Ones that come in and check your vitals, all that, and make sure that you got everything you need, you took care of. Well, she was in doing her rounds on a night shift one night, her bed checks, and she went in to check on a patient, a gentleman patient, in his room, and he had expired. So she was making her way out of the room to go let a nurse know what had happened, and she got outside the doorway and into the hall, and that's when at the other end of the hall she saw it. And she basically froze like a deer in the headlights because at the other end of the hallway was this massive, giant black shadow figure. And it was wearing a hooded cloak, basically like the Grim Reaper. And by giant, I mean floor to ceiling and broad too. And as it started passing, as it started making its way down the hallway, the electrical equipment started to malfunction. And I'm talking about all of it. The call buttons, the telephones, the overhead lights, even the overhead lights in the patient's rooms. All of this stuff was malfunctioning as this thing passed by it. And not only that, the blood pressure machines, the electronic blood pressure machines, the batteries fully drained on these things, and the previous shift had charged them fully. Uh, there was no reason for the battery drain to happen. None of this had ever happened before then. So as this thing's making its way down the hall, and it's basically a blackout, everything behind it. Beth is just standing there like a deer in the headlights until it gets to her, and she said it passed over her, but she felt like she got tangled up in its robe, in its cloak. It felt like she was tangled up in fabric. So anyway, it passed over her, through her, and went into the same room that she had just came out of. And if that wasn't terrifying enough, this thing looks at Beth and calls her out by name. Says, "Beth, do your job, cover this patient up, but do not touch his body." So of course she complied. Uh, she did what the thing said, and she covered him up with a sheet and was careful not to touch his body. And as she was making her way back around the bed, the thing put its hands on her shoulders. And in the spot she was standing in, she could see the wall clock. And this was 3 solid minutes this thing had its hand on her shoulders. And she said it felt like pure electricity was running from her body, from her head to her feet. It just felt like electricity. She felt like her feet were frozen to the floor, though. And for 3 solid minutes, she was looking at that clock. And not to mention, when it entered the room, it filled it up with darkness. Like even the light from the windows wasn't coming in. No overhead lights, none of that was working. So she's there in a dark room with this thing and just barely making out the clock for 3 minutes. But anyway, uh, she asked what was going on, and it said that since you touched this man was pure evil. Uh, and basically it was protecting his spirit from being able to get to Beth because his spirit was looking for any place to go that it could aside from where it was going. Uh, let's just say he was on the naughty list. Turns out that this was a wicked man. All right. He had several daughters, but only one would even come have anything to do with him, ever visited him, because she had found out that they were abused. He abused them when they were children. In every sense of the word, he abused them. They also said that he was just a very mean, ornery man to deal with. He was just a wicked man. So, and his spirit was looking for somewhere to jump to, and it protected Beth from that. Well, after all this, two doors down, there's a very religious lady, and she says, "The devil is out walking around. I can feel it." Now, everybody on the floor had witnessed this electrical thing and this thing coming down the hallway anyway. The nurses and the techs had anyway. By this time, other patients were starting to come out of their rooms asking what was going on. But all the nurses and techs had witnessed this. And Beth went on to say that this thing has manifested a couple of more times over the years. It's never gotten as close to her again as it did, and it's certainly never touched her again. Uh, but she has had opportunity to ask questions, and of course, one of the questions was, "Why can I see you?" And it said since she had put hands on that evil gentleman, said that she'll always be able to see them when they're around. On another occasion, one of them asked her, "Do you remember when you died when you were 3?" And now Beth does have, she's an empath or a sensitive, whatever you want to call it. And that's not uncommon for them to have memories way further back than we do. And she said it flooded her mind. She did recall the incident that happened when she was 3 years old. Uh, she had hit her head, severe head trauma that knocked her out cold. Well, she thought she had been knocked out cold, but she remembers having an out of body experience at that time where she was floating up to the ceiling. And she also remembers going back into her body. But later on that night, she had 3 grand mal seizures. And she's never had that happen before or since. So she really thinks that she might have crossed over to the other side briefly during that incident. Now, first of all, I want to thank Beth C. for sharing that story. It was awesome. It was terrifying. I don't think I could have handled it. I think I would have passed away right then and there as soon as the thing touched me. Probably when it spoke to me. But you guys let me know what you think in the comments. Was this a Grim Reaper? I really think it was. I'm not in a position to dismiss anything in this world. Nothing would really surprise me, to be honest with you guys. I'm definitely leaving the possibility open that this was a Grim Reaper and they come and take the naughty ones somewhere else. Uh, but also, I want to thank all of you for your support, your kindness. Uh, you guys are all real positive in the comments, and you let me know that you like these stories, and that makes my day. It really makes my day to know that people like these stories as much as I do. If you really want to help the channel, a lot of you guys know that I'm an amputee. I lost a leg around New Year's, and I've made it a mission to double down on the channel, and I really want to see it grow to its potential. Where I want to see the channel grow as much as it can. So if you would share, share this out with your friends, share it out on your page, to anyone you think might enjoy them. It would mean the world to me. I would really appreciate that. Uh, so yeah, share me out. It doesn't cost nothing. I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you guys for watching. If you have your own paranormal story from Appalachia, I would love to hear it. My email is in my bio. It's visible in my bio. You can also message me direct if you prefer. But I'd love to hear your stories and maybe put them on the show. And that has been Jay's Haunted Appalachia for tonight. Keep Appalachia haunted, y'all.